this week I went to the screening of Inside Out 2, and I just thought this was actually worth bringing into the show and mentioning because it's really good. This is for the first time in a few years, I think Disney, Pixar particularly, have outdone themselves. This is better than the first one. It's got none of that sort of, social political posturing that they've had in recent years. It is a really good, strong story. It's aimed at teenagers rather than little kids. And yeah, if you're a fan of Inside Out, the first one, you're going to want to see part 2 because it's even better. Godfather 2'd the original.
The original. Now, let me ask you this. I haven't seen either of the Inside Out
Yep.
films, but do either of them, how do they stack up to the brilliance that was Herman's head? Which I always felt was the same story.
It is very similar story. Obviously, it's just about a bunch of emotions inside this girl's head, controlling her every whim. What's so fun about this one though is that it really takes advantage of puberty. So puberty comes along. So there's all these new emotions that come in and bump the old ones out. But then it gets quite deep and talks about things like anxiety and depression and embarrassment when you shouldn't be embarrassed. That gawky kind of awkward teenage stuff. And gives them like some personality of each emotion, and it's really, really good. And I don't say that lightly because I'm just not a fan of these films.
I was going to say, look, I'm not surprised that you liked it because you've always been a big fan of taking advantage of puberty.
And what he means is I used to masturbate a lot. Of course. Fucking hell. I mean, I've got the power of the edit here, mate. Just remember that. And the power of re-record. I can wait till we've signed off and I can just put a little cheeky bit in there.
Just fix it,
Hey, another thing, I don't know. Have you watched anything this week, by the way?
Yes. Yeah, I have.
Is it stuff you're going to say for later? Or is it stuff?
Look, I could talk about it. I did catch up on. I would be talking about it later, but Melzi has already spoken about it on the show. I was very upset. I think at the time I might have been out of state when the preview screening for Abigail, came around, so I missed that one. So I finally caught up with it on the weekend, last weekend, and fuck, did I enjoy it?
Oh no, it's really good, isn't it?
It is thoroughly enjoyable. I'm sure keen-eyed movie fans will have found more flaws. I only found one story flaw in it.
Yep. Is it worth bringing up, or is it just something you can easily overlook?
Well, look, I don't know. Look, what I'll say is I'll leave a pause here so you can cut it, and if we don't talk about anything after it, you'll know that it's a spoiler and I shouldn't have said anything. It when and then she's and Abigail but right when almost immediately and he's so how does that work?
Well,
maybe because he's already.
I don't know. The way that works is there are a few spoilers. I'll just bleep a couple of those.
I will say that as far as kind of vampire, modern vampire movies go, I had a great time with it. It was great and gory. I liked everyone in the cast was great.
Yep.
The kills were gory and fantastic. Abigail herself was great. Abigail's dad, that was a lovely surprise when he turned up.
Yep.
And he was great.
Yep. Just really fun. Like, it really put the fun back into horror.
And it's a great kind of world that they inhabit. So it could definitely have a sequel.
Oh, absolutely, for sure. And they keep telling people, the marketing is saying that it's a loose remake of Dracula's Daughter, but it really isn't like Dracula's Daughter. Like, from my memory of Dracula's Daughter, it's a different movie. It's a different story.
I can't remember.
Only that it was a child vampire in the original.
If anything, I was going to say I would have thought it's the vampire version of Usual Suspects.
Is that because she's got a limp?
Yeah.
Oh. And keeps farting in the lineup.
And goes, yeah. Give me the and that whole scene where they all like, give me the fucking keys, cocksucker.
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about. Blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. So another one I tried to watch this week because it came highly recommended. I had quite a few people saying I need to check it out. Was Richard Linklater's new one, Hitman, with Glenn Powell. So I put that on, and I got to say, the first 30 minutes were incredible. I thought, yeah, fuck, the praise is there. Like, there's a reason for it. It's really good. The premise is great. And then something happens after 30 minutes, and it just loses all of its mojo. And I fell asleep, had to turn it off, and I'm not even that interested in going back to it.
Well, it's played several times in my household that I've walked in on, but it's always like because the person watching it, they put it on and then they stop paying attention, and the ADHD kicks in and they're on their phone, and so they've put it on several times, and every time I walk in, it's just that scene where they're in the diner, and watching that scene, I'm like, I could take or leave this movie. I don't really
I
think I need
you
to
would
watch
really enjoy the first 30 minutes like I did. It really has a good setup and a premise, and
Yeah.
then it just falls apart. Well, I thought it did, which was a shame. So anyway, thought I'd just bring that. I like to talk about things we've seen over the week if indeed we've seen anything.
if we've seen things.
Yeah.